Wow. Over 700 people here just to hear me introduce the mayor. Thank you for coming. I appreciate it very much. I thought it'd go real well. It didn't go well. I've been practicing that line all week and it didn't come out. Good morning and welcome to the Bolingbrook Area Chamber of Commerce, our annual January luncheon featuring our keynote speaker, the Honorable Mayor Roger C. Claar, and our State of the Village. My name is Kevin O'Keefe, and it's my honor and privilege to be your Executive Director at Bolingbrook Chamber. Let me first thank our presenting sponsors for the luncheon. The law firm was Odelson & Stirk, G&W Electric, and ATI Physical Therapy. Can we give them a hand, please? I want to first acknowledge my staff. I have a wonderful staff, and I'm very lucky to have them. Tom Altoff, who was in membership development, retired in December, and we have another new membership development person, Bolingbrook's own Jacqueline Sanchez. Jacqueline's doing a great job. Wave to Jacqueline back there. Next, we have Grace Tucker, who's in charge of communication events. So when you get those emails and all those texts, blame Grace. So Grace Tucker. Don't delete them. And last but certainly not least, I would like to introduce my office manager, Saba Rashid, who makes sure everybody has their correct seat today. So if you're in the wrong seat, go see Saba. I want to really thank you to BCT staff, including Dave Thompson, James Farrell, Jim Singer, Jerry Strickland, Nancy Hansen, Barbara Parker, Gary Hanwerg, and Judy Singer. Please give them a little hand. And now it's my honor to introduce the chairman of the board of the Bolingbrook Area Chamber of Commerce from Robin Schwartz, Neil Smith. Neil.
Thanks, Kevin, and welcome everybody. I'm going to introduce our board of directors for the Chamber of Commerce. As I call your name, if you could please stand up to be recognized, and then if everybody could hold their applause till the end. We got the vice chair, Cliff O'Neill from ATI Physical Therapy. The immediate past chair, Roxanne Conrad, 360 Painting. Ray Aguayo, American Family Insurance. Tom Castagnoli, the Promenade Bolingbrook. Derek Cazot, the Bolingbrook Hospital Foundation. Billy Hirth, Edward Jones Investments. Bob Jaskowitz, 12-5 Capital. Marie McDonald, BMO Harris Bank. Bobby Nuno, Numno's Complete Car Care. Diane Nowasek, Rasmussen College. Cheryl Shoemake, Crash Champions. Diana Sorescu, Bolingbrook Bank and Trust. Mike Wagner, Chick-fil-A. And Treasurer Alicia Benford Brown and Associates. Please join me in giving a round of applause to our Chamber Board. And now, Kevin O'Keefe.
Don't want to jump down there. There you go. Good for you. I'd like to introduce right now Mr. Donald Sale, who will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Don.
Cross my heart. Okay. All right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well done, Don. Well done. Thank you, Don. I would like now to ask the Reverend Marty Barton to come up and recite the invocation.
Thank you, Kevin. Good afternoon, Mayor Claar, elected officials, friends, business colleagues, and those I haven't met yet. Please join me in prayer. Dear blessed Creator, what a privilege it is to stand before you and pray with the amazing group of people in this room. They represent all that is good in this community, the movers and shakers, the entrepreneurs, the leaders, the volunteers, the supporters, the ones who get it done, who have made Bolingbrook the vibrant community that it's become. We thank you for this day and for the opportunity to come together in freedom, to break bread, network, and celebrate our village of Bolingbrook in this beautiful setting. And as we do so, I ask that you please shine your light and grace upon those who are struggling or hurting, that they may find comfort and strength from your divine love. We ask for your protection for our men and women in uniform, including our first responders, who put themselves in harm's way on our behalf as they and their families sacrifice their way of life so that we may enjoy ours. We ask that you bless our elected officials at each level of government with vision and wisdom, that they may govern with humility and in the true spirit of service. For the community leaders in education, business, and all other endeavors, we ask that you bless them with inspiration and guidance so that their successes will help Bolingbrook continue to thrive. And for those who are seeking to follow new paths, knowing that even positive change requires adjustment, we ask that you grant them the courage to take that first step and embrace the new future ahead of them. We also ask your blessings on all of the everyday heroes in this town, the people who get up each day, go to work, and support their families, and on all those who serve this community out of the goodness of their hearts, for they are truly the foundation of Bolingbrook's success. And finally, we give our thanks for the food we are about to receive, the hands that prepared it, and those that serve it. May it nourish our bodies while the fellowship here nourishes our souls. And at the end of this gathering, when we all go forth from this lovely place, may we do so in safety and in your grace. Amen.
Okay, please enjoy your meal. We'll start the program in about 15 minutes. It takes a while to serve 714 people, so thanks for your patience. It's now my honor and privilege to introduce our keynote speaker for the day, the Honorable Roger C. Claar.
Well, that was short and sweet. Well, it could have gone downhill, too. And they are still serving. It's very tight to get through the tables, so please bear with them. And they might not be able to pick up the plates as quickly as normal because it's hard to navigate. And we do have 714 people, or approximately that here, which is a very nice crowd. And I want to thank you all for coming out. Raise your hands. How many have been here before? Wow. You think you'd learn. I got to mention something before. Well, I'll mention it in a moment. First of all, it was told me somebody dropped a pair of blue glasses. I don't have them up here. They're back by the production area for BCT. So just stop back there when you can get them. I think they're reading glasses, so you don't need them now. But anyway, I'd like to quickly introduce some people. And I say quickly, I'm not going to wait till everybody stands up. I'm just going to go through the list. If you feel so compelled, you can stand up. But at your places, all of you have some handouts. First of all, at every table, there's one of these. It's a QR code. For those of you that are into it, you can press that, go over that, whatever you do to get to that thing. And it will download all the handouts at your place. So you don't need to carry them out here. You can just download them. We used to pass out a village map, a new map every year. But paper maps have kind of gone the way of the dinosaur, so we didn't print a paper map this year of the village. It's on our webpage, and you can do about anything you want to with a webpage in terms of twisting it, turning it, blowing it up, and printing it out. So there's where the map is. We also didn't print enough of these for everybody. We have 100 of them up here. If somebody want one, you can go to the QR code and get it. But if you'd like a printed copy, you can also see it on our webpage too by the end of the day. This is a little thing of handouts and statistics about the village I'll be going through in a moment, briefly. But again, a lot of people left them, and it just didn't make sense to print 700 of these and find 500 left on the table at the end of the day. Also at your place, you'll find a sheet. We should be showing these pictures. No, not those, the pictures of the handouts. We're past that. Well, okay, I see what you're doing. Back up to this. In there, you'll see some sheets. The first one is growth in square miles. We're about 27 square miles, just about, this town is about built out. And we're all incorporated except for a couple of small pieces which should be wrapped up in the next year or so. Okay, well, you go backwards. Okay. Backwards. Enjoy your dessert. This. Looking for page 2. There we go, page 2. Got it. You see the growth of square miles, about 27. Okay. Growth of acres about 27,000 acres, and our population is about 76,606. Go to the next page, please. We created some 45,000 jobs over the last several years. And you can see. Okay, back to that. Now go to the next page, just the next page. Our total industrial inventory, we're at about 36,000 or 36 million square foot of industrial building. Our friends in Romeoville are at 34,000. And you can see Woodridge is 12, Lamont's about 4, and Elwood, south of Joliet's about 8,500,000. That's a huge amount of industrial things. And again, we're about built out. There's probably 3 or 4 million left to build here. But we're very proud of what we got, and I'll go into more detail on that in a minute. The next page you'll see, go to page 6. The one thing that we've done over the years, which was a goal we set 25, 30 years ago, we had, in my opinion, a bad imbalance of too many apartments, townhomes, attached housing to single-family housing. And at one time, it was 35% single-family. The previous boards back in the 50s handed out zoning for apartments, townhomes, condos, condominiums, you name it, left and right. And that's a problem, in my opinion, imbalance of a good community. So over the years, we've restricted that. So now we were able to reduce that down to 24%, which is probably still a little high, but it's much better than what it was. And that took some doing. The next page, you'll see percentage of retail vacancies. I get this question a lot, and I'll go into retail in a minute. But retail as we know it, and I don't care where you are, empty storefronts are all over America, and it's getting worse day by day. The figures are for the Southwest region, Chicago, and these came from CB Richard Ellis. 11%, south suburbs 22%, western suburbs 7.8%, north suburbs 7.3%, the far west 13.9%, and Bolingbrook's at 7.1%. So we are better than many, but we still have too many. And again, I'll address that more in a moment. The next page shows our retail base. It's about 6.5 million square foot of retail. The next page shows our sales tax revenue. 33 million. When I came in office, it was $600 million a year. Now we're up to 33 million, trying to get a better balance and stay away from property tax. And on the next page, page 10, you'll see our equalized assessed valuation. When I came into office, the equalized assessed valuation of Bolingbrook was $540 million. Today, it's $6.6 billion. Again, we're very proud of that. And the last page we'll talk about here is property tax rate. Again, back in the 80s, our property tax rate was over 20% of the property tax bill came from just for the village operations. We've got that down now to where it's 0.93, and we're trying to hold our own in that respect. The other handouts, one is the corporate headquarters listed in Bolingbrook, or the employers listed in Bolingbrook. Well, then we have the corporate headquarters listed in Bolingbrook, and we know that's not all of them, but it's a good number of them, 29 of them. Then there's a page in the Bolingbrook Rocket Ice Arena. Each place, that's one of the most successful public-private relationships I've seen in my tenure as mayor. Then we have a page in the Bolingbrook Golf Club, facts and history and how it got started. And lastly, you'll see a page on our Standard & Poor's credit rating, which jumped to an all-time high based on the financial well-being of the village of Bolingbrook. Those are all things that you can download. Thank you. This is my 34th State of the Village address. The first one was at a bar called Two Rivers, which is now been repurposed. Well, actually, it was torn down. And then we moved to the Holiday Inn when it was built, and of course we came here then in the Reagan Ballroom of the Bolingbrook Golf Club in 2003, and have been here since. It's a lot of fun to do, but it's a tremendous amount of work, and I want to thank all the staff that helped me with this. Too numerous to mention them all, but I certainly couldn't have done it without Jim Bowen, the semi-retired village attorney, and Reggie, who came back. She's been retired a couple years, but came back to help. And as you can see, yeah. And as you can see, again, I'm a proud member of the Bolingbrook Lions Club with the Lions logo on the front of this podium. Lions Club is probably the largest, most active civic club in Bolingbrook. And one thing they do every year that's very interesting for people is they have what's called beep baseball, where they bring in 8 teams from across the United States, and these people are all legally blind, and they play beep baseball with a series of equipment that the softball actually beeps. That's how they track it, swing at it, and so forth. It's kind of, if you're interested in it, it's every summer, I believe, in June, and we'll be doing it again this year. And of course, I want to thank Bolingbrook Community Television for setting this up. We had some technical problems before our lunch. You may have noticed the screen's going dark. Hopefully that's been corrected, because if I don't have that, I don't have this. It's a problem. I want to mention my wife and daughter. I got a picture of them I'll show you in a minute. One of the things I do every year, I do have a picture. Put that picture up here, yes. This picture was taken, guess where? Now, that's my Pat, of course. Pat's sitting right here. Next to her is our daughter, Lindsay. Next to her is my granddaughter, Samantha Joy, and Trevor, Lindsay's husband. Interestingly enough, the three of them, Lindsay and Samantha Joy, and my in-laws, Bob and Dee Bell, are watching this now in California. So that's streaming video. So hi, Sam. I just want to get that out of the way. Every year I take a portion of the proceeds of this dinner, which goes to the chamber, but they have agreed to give me $10 per person to give out to some charities. So I'd like to read off the list of charities. It's rather extensive, but I wanted to cover a lot of them this year. One group that needs some serious help financially with their rebuilding their cabin there in Bolingbrook, and that's the Campfire Camp, which is located on North Schmidt Road. I'm going to be giving them $1,000 to help clean up their cabin for those young people. Ready, Set, Ride, which is a program for children with some disabilities, $500. DuCap, Joe Johnson, $500. For Kids' Sake, Shirley Grisenia, $500, and Terry Grisenia. Marcelo Boxing, Marcelo's here, $500. H2O, Ryan Lawrence, Exec Director, $500. Dance Dimension with Kim Peterson, $500. Veterans Groups, John Davin. The Heart Organization, Dr. Leonard Ingram. There he is. Perked up on that, didn't it? Chime, which is the Children Having Instruments for Music, the BHS Band, Amy Roops is the director. That's a program I like. That'll help them out, get some kids some instruments they might need. Bolingbrook Cricket, Mir Ali, $500. Black History Awareness Month, Bernard Winston and Anita Canto Cardi, $500. And a project United Way sponsored. I'm not that familiar with it, but New Life Lutheran Church is a host of it, but United Way is assisting with it. It's called Diaper Depot. Now, don't get excited, Bert. It's kids. But Mike Milan brought that to my attention. It buys diapers for people. People that just need to have young children. Well, you know what the drill is. Now I'd like to quickly introduce some folks. I want to thank Doug Freeze, our general manager. Doug does a great job here. With him today is Steve Skinner, president of Kemper Sports. I'd also like to thank Joe Maldonado, who does the bookings. And the guy that opened this place is GM with Kemper Sports. Terry Hanley's with me. Terry, stand up and wave. I was told we have with us State Senator Jennifer Bettino Tent. Is she here? Anyway, she's also a candidate for county executive. We have State Representative Nanny Manley, also a candidate for re-election, I know. John Grueling, the Will County CED. We have Grant Worley, Assistant Minority Leader, State Rep, 41st District. Grant's here too. Karen Stuckel, the Will County Recorder of Deeds. Ken Harris, Will County Board District 4. Not elected, but a great guy. Hugh O'Hara, the Executive Director of the Will County Governmental League. Mike Hennessy, Executive Director of United Way. Representing Larry Walsh. Larry is retiring, great guy. I know many of you know him. He's been county executive a number of years, prior to that a state senator. And a good friend for many things, and always been absolutely bipartisan in the way he ran his office, which is something that seems to be slipping away today. But great guy, Larry Walsh. And representing him today is Nick Palmer, his chief of staff. And Nick is also a candidate for county executive. We have with us from the PACE Board, Rick Kwasniewski, chair of the PACE Board, former Mayor Lamont. New executive director for PACE, executive director Rocky Donahue. And the woman that helps us out here locally, does a nice job making sure the buses run, is Beth Gonzalez. Mayor of Naperville, Steve Cherko. I didn't see Steve. Steve, you here? Don't see him. John Noak, Mayor of Romeoville. Right there. John Agoski, Mayor of Lamont. There he is, good. Skippy Saviano, Mayor of Elmwood Park. He's over there, he's kind of a shy guy. Noreen Kavinsky, Alderman of West Chicago. Jamal Williams, Alderman from Plano, is here. Congressional candidate, Krishna Banzal, candidate for 11th Congressional District. Christian, where are you? Oh, back in the corner, right in front of that last screen. Okay, Christian. From the Park District, they have their new logo over their 50th anniversary. I'd like to congratulate them on their 50 years. We have Sue Vestalo, the president, Ms. Alyssa McLeod, vice president, Jerry Hicks, Denise Allen, Dorothy Andrews as members of the board, and Ron Ostreich, the executive director. Valley View School Board. We have Steve Quigley, board president. Liz Campbell, member, and thank you for your email this morning, Liz. Debbie Sikora, school board. Diane Perrell couldn't be here, had a little procedure she had to take care of, but wish she may be watching on streaming video. J.T. Bedore, school board member, and Sally Gilbo, and Victor Zach, school board. And we have a former school board member, Mike Evans, here too. Mike, you didn't think you'd be introduced, did you? I'd like to make a special call out to a good friend for many years who's retiring this June. I have a picture of him in the parade coming. That's him on the far right, Dr. Jim Mitchum. Where are you? Well, stay up, stay up. I want them to see you, Jim. This is the last time they may see you. How many years you got in? 40. Wait. Anyway, in that picture, Dr. Mitchum, look good. He's lost this past year 100 pounds. I am impressed with that. I mention it every time I see him. We also have another superintendent I'm told here today, Lane Averill, Dr. Lane Averill from Plainfield 202. Where you at, Lane? There. Ah, there he is. He's also retiring this year. I hope you both enjoy your retirement, and I hope to see you. I hope our paths cross after we're all retired. Somebody told me you were. I think it was the board president. Seriously, somebody told me you're retiring. Well, I guess we'll know. Read the papers. DuPage Township, Gene Kelly, our assessor. Alicia Benford, trustee. Felix George, our supervisor. And Raquel Mitchell, Wheatland Township trustee. Fountaindale Library, we have the president, Peg Danhoff, and just a comment about Peg Danhoff, way over there. Peg has been library president, board member off and on for 20 years. Prior to that, she was a DuPage Township supervisor, and prior to that, she's a village trustee. She has a variety of public service in this community over a lot of years than anyone. So congratulations, Peg. Library Commissioner Steve Purnell, Bob Kalnicki, Ruth Newell, Celeste Bermeo, Kathy Spindell, Marcelo Valencia, and Paul Mills, the Executive Director, are also with us today. Some friends of mine came out today because they thought this might be my last State of the Village. Yeah, 4 more years, yeah. Kirk Dillard, Chairman of the RTA. Kirk, good to see you. Should have been governor. Dan Cronin, Chairman of the DuPage County Board. This guy's not elected, he's just a good friend, and I've known him for 40 years. And this last couple of days, while we were working feverishly to put this together, he brought food by at lunch both days, unannounced, just walked in and put it on the table. Bill Palmer. Thank you, Bill. Ed Custa Jr., former county board member. Terry Winnemute, former county board member. Next picture, this guy, Isaac Palmer. This was the groundbreaking for the Amita Hospital. Then it was Hinsdale or Bolingbrook Hospital. That's a picture of us together. He's with us. Stand up. Good to see you, Isaac. He and I spent 2 or 3 years together working diligently in several different arenas to get that hospital approved. And then we had the groundbreaking, and he got to be a very dear friend. And again, he's since moved on, but he came back today for this. A little story about Isaac. I was with him one day at his home. We were talking about something, it's not important what. But right in the middle of the conversation, he stopped. He said, "That's it." I looked at him and said, "What do you mean that's it?" "That's it. That's it right there." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "We were in his front step of his house, and we were overlooking a park area." And what he said, "That's it." There were kids of all cultures, all diversities, all color, out there playing together. And he said, "That's the dream." Remember that? And ladies and gentlemen, that's Bolingbrook. That is Bolingbrook then and now. We have Dr. Judy Mitchell from President of JJC's here. We have former trustees of the Village of Bolingbrook, Judy Brettaway, Sandy Swinkunis, Rick Morales, Gretchen Schroeder, and Teresa Hoagland. Thanks for coming back. They've been here many times. We have the president of H2O, Leo Venegas, here. We have a guy that some of you may not remember. you have to be old to remember this guy. He came over and said a little while ago, and you won't recognize him, but he was a park board member back in the 80s. Dave Micah. Dave, stand up. See if anybody recognizes you. He's been in Naperville for years. You think he'd come over and say hello? I know I'm not at the bank. I'm at Wintrust. What the heck, you know? Anyway, Nick Ficarella, candidate for county executive, Republican. Nick, where are you? I don't know where he is. Here somewhere. A new resident in Bolingbrook soon be moving in his new house here in Americana Estates, but I enjoy talking to him, and I think many of you would too if you're sports fans. He is a Major League Baseball umpire. Mark Carlson. Mark, right here. Stand up. Right up. And contrary to what you think about Major League umpires, he's not blind. Yeah. So, Mark, who's better, the Cubs or the Sox? Whoever wins the game. Anyways, moving into Americana States. Next, we have the people in the last parade. We had our Grand Marshal in the parade, our semi-retired, at the time still working, Jim Bone. Sandy Swinkunis is driving. With him his daughter Megan and his grandson Henry. Next, we have Judy Betterway as a female citizen of the year. Larry Gwinwich is a male citizen of the year. Rasha and Elwin LeBranch and the family, Rasha and Rachel, family of the year. Now, village staff, we have Lucas Rickelman, Director of Public Service. Now, Lucas, stand, okay? Ken Temple, keep standing. Director of Public Safety. Rosa Calhoun, Director of Finance. Again, keep standing. Matt Eastman, our planner. Jane Sparrow, in charge of our IT. Barb Cuniff and Fran Miller, Executive Department. They're here. They're supposed to be standing. I don't see Fran. Oh, okay. And Reggie Bobs, right here. Come on, stand up. These are the team that make this village work. They're great to work with. I'm sure they're glad this thing is over today, and they'll be even happier when I get on an airplane tomorrow. So, thank you for what you're. Now, I mentioned Jim Bone is semi-retired, but with us today we have our new village law firm. Well, Jim's with Odelson Stirk now, but Odelson Stirk out of Evergreen Park. Bert Odelson and Mark Stirk. You gentlemen please stand. So, looking at those guys in the gray hair, we have the advantage for the next several months of having over 150 years of legal experience working for the village. Because they're all old. Now we got a picture of Jim, which was taken. Don't you love that picture? So distinguished. And then the next picture I also enjoy. I'm into my 34th year. He finished 22 years of the village. And he's not only a great attorney and also a great village manager type, he's also a very, very dear personal friend. So thank you, Jimmy, for all you've done. Next, I'm going to introduce our village board and clerk. Their pictures will be on the screen. We have Carol Penning, been clerk for many, many years. Mike Lawler, deputy mayor and trustee for 24 years. Murray Basta, trustee for 8 months. Michael Carbonzano, trustee for 8 months since the April election. Maria Zarate, trustee for 7 years. Sheldon Watts, trustee for about 13 months. and Bob Jazowitz for about 2 years and 8 months. They, again, have to approve each and everything we do, so I want to thank them for their support. A couple of things I always like to mention, not a couple, but I always like to go through people we lost that are good, great residents of Bolingbrook. And I'm going to go through this rather quickly, but Mal Block, one of Bolingbrook's first settlers, a pioneer, and Gail Feeder, a senior citizen officer. They were both very active in the senior citizens. Mark Chazak, a volunteer in many organizations in town. Joe Levy Jr., who had a car dealership, and he wrote a check for $300,000 to build the Levy Center. Nancy Barron was the post office, but organized the postal food drive for years. Karen Smith, the beautification commissioner. Shirley Valavicius, a very active member of our Democratic Party. We sparred on a lot of issues, former town collector, but a lot of fun. Fran Dodero, wife of the late Tony Dodero, 2 pioneers of Bolingbrook. Lupe Munoz, longtime JC and fixture at our Balk Golf Club here. Dan Toomey, a popular retired Bolingbrook police officer. Former village trustee and another pioneer in Bolingbrook, trustee for 14 years, Pat Shanks. John Armstrong, a trustee from 77 to 81, passed away. Frank Kale, a very popular resident, veteran. James Thompson, a personal friend of mine who lived in Bolingbrook, and we used to call him the Gov. Matt Berzoner, the only son of a couple of our great residents, John and Mary Berzoner, graduated from the Air Force Academy, became a commercial pilot, and died this year in an experimental plane accident. Bernie Sione, a longtime resident, active at St. Dominic's. A very dear friend of mine, did live in Bolingbrook, but built and resurfaced a lot of roads here in Bolingbrook, including the project out in front of us in Rodale Drive. George Krug, very good friend. He built highways, roadways, and tollways. Another friend of mine, Eli Sidwell, Pat McHale, Rick McHale's wife. Ann Brochet worked in our office, died in her 30s recently. A real tragedy in that respect, too young. Betsy Trazak, the daughter of Al Trazak. Jerry Long, 30-plus year resident. I attended the service yesterday for Bill Dugan, certainly not a resident, but the 150 operating here have a presence not here, but frankly all over 3 states. And that presence is due to his efforts. Easy to work with. I found him easy to work with. Some people didn't. Bob Wolf, former Park Board commissioner, also passed away a couple of weeks ago. Eagle Scouts, very good year for Eagle Scouts. There were 12 new Eagles this year and 1 Girl Scout Gold Award. There it is. It's here. This is not a teleprompter, by the way. It's just a little camera. So I can see these, but I don't know why I don't see. No. Anyway, we are very strong supporters of the scouting program. 3 people I invited here today to give them a little shout out. Our girls basketball coach, Chris Smith. Chris, stand up. Has a record of 118 wins, 59 losses. 7th season coaching the girls, 5 regional championships. He took over a program that Tony Smith had at won 4 state championships, and we're hoping to see him downstate on a regular occasion. Next, we have our boys basketball coach, Rob Brost, a record of 256 wins, 82 losses. When his teams go on the floor, they win 3 out of 4 times. That's 5 regional titles, 3 sectionals, 2 super sectionals, 215 Final Four appearances, 3rd place. 2015, 2017, 3rd place. 59 players have gone on to play college basketball, including 14 D1 and 1 NBA player. So thank you, Rob, for what you do. Next, I'd like to congratulate our football coach, John Ivelo, Officer John Ivelo. He's from Plainfield, played for the 49ers? Bears 49ers. 100 years ago, but anyway. But do we have a quarterback back then? Anyway, John, too, wins 3 out of 4 games. And Senator Dillard, Kurt Dillard, RTA chairman, and I had a nice opportunity to stand on the sidelines in Hinsdale and watch them kick Hinsdale's butt in the playoffs, right, Kurt? It hurt, didn't it? Anyway, his teams, again, win 3 out of 4 times. He sent 70 players to Division I, 47 Division II, 64 Division III, 41 NAIA, and 21 to JUCO. And I'm mentioning this because it's guys like this that takes kids that might otherwise just drift through the system and gives them a purpose in life, and they then can be successful. They get to go to college with some partial assistance, maybe full rides. And they get a lot of recognition. Yeah, they're in the sports pages on, occasionally a couple times a week or whatever. But these guys are what make it work. John's teams this year in the bowl games, John's former players, he had one in the Rose Bowl, one in the Outback Bowl, one in the Red Box Bowl, one in the Music City Bowl, one in the Pinstripe Bowl, one in the Fiesta Bowl, and one in the Army-Navy game. That's former players for John Lavro. And his quarterback's father is sitting here, one of the proudest fathers I've ever met. His quarterback on this year's team was a guy named Devin Suggs. He's accepted a full ride to play at Yale. And he was recently selected as the National Alliance of African American Athletes for their Male High School Scholar Award in the Midwest region, going to LA for a dinner soon. His GPA is 3.8. He's the son, stand up, Schaefer, of Schaefer Suggs, who played with the Jets, played with Joe Namath. And some of you may remember Schaefer was married to Sue Suggs, which was the park district director for years. Unfortunately passed away several years ago, but did a great job of raising not only Devin, but his daughter, Faith Suggs, who's an outstanding basketball player. Unfortunately, didn't play at Bolingbrook, but she graduated. She got a full ride to Duke University in girls basketball, which, again, is fairly prestigious. So the Suggs family is just an outstanding family. She's now working in New York just in the sports program of some kind. So, again, congratulations. Anyway, Coach Ibelo is, again, one of our police officers, but he was named the Pillar of the Valley View by the Valley View School District Board for his dedication to the district, and he's inducted to the Plainfield School District Hall of Fame. So, thanks, Coach. Ed Schrader is celebrating his 20th anniversary at Rocket Ice. There's, again, sheeted your chairs, telling a little bit about that. There's a couple of slides showing him. Brett Sopel's. Rocket Ice 2017 state champions. Brett Sopel comes out there and coaches the team on a regular basis from Blackhawks. And is that the last one? Is there one more? Yes. I was told Tommy Hawk's now in the Mascot Hall of Fame. Who knew? Who knew? I mentioned Rocky Donahue and Rick Kwasniewski earlier, but I'm also a member of the Pace Board of Directors. And we're working very hard to get a park and ride facility. We got one here in Bolingbrook. We're trying to get it expanded. Many of you have seen perhaps the new one in Plainfield. Pace Bus on the Shoulders program has increased ridership 800%. So we're very happy. I'm very proud to be on that board. I'm glad to see what they're doing for people. A little shout out to Anita Canto-Cardi. She's a BHS grad, got her law degree, came back here, started law practice, built a building. As a single woman, built a building called Diamond Suites. It's now fully leased, so congratulations for being such a solid citizen, Anita. Amita Hospital was named one of 8 hospitals among the best in the nation for safety and quality, so congratulations, Bruce Christian and your team. Mia Farrell, daughter of the guy running these slides. She attended some Catholic school in Joliet. I'll remain nameless. But she was a great player, got a full ride to the University of Chicago playing basketball, but she is a Bolingbrook resident. Resident Shirley Crow, 84 years old, graduated from Joliet Junior College this year with a degree in business. Think about that, 84. I want to congratulate Jonas Salk Elementary School for being named as one of the top 73 schools in the country for distinguished schools and extraordinary success of their students. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Bob Klein, owner of Award Emblem, who was one of the first businesses I worked to bring into Bolingbrook. That was even before I was mayor. That tells you how old he is. And our relation started as members of the Bolingbrook Rotary Club. Ed Letourneau and Jerry Paulson are here today. They're planning a major event, which will be here Friday, September 11th, a golf outing with all kinds of military equipment, and then continuing into Saturday in Lockport. And they've already committed Lee Greenwood will be here. So I'm anxious to meet Lee Greenwood and hear him sing Proud to be an American. Hawk Harrelson. Hawk has golfed here in Bolingbrook a lot. Not so much in recent years because of his arthritis and other reasons. And of course, he retired as a Sox announcer a year ago. I mentioned him today because he was he's going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. He's a great guy, and this is the last day he broadcast. And you see what he's wearing on his last day of broadcast? Now, I'm telling you, that was not an accident. Hawk Harrelson, I've got a lot of golf shirts, a lot of golf wind shirts like he's wearing. I got a lot of them. He did not just grab one out of the closet and throw it on. He wore Bolingbrook because he loves Bolingbrook. He particularly loves this facility. And he always used to say the Bolingbrook bounce. You ever heard the Bolingbrook bounce? That's a true bounce with a golf ball. A lot of places you play, former farms, the ball hits and kicks right or left. We get the true Bolingbrook bounce. And he also had the pick and click. Anyway, he sent me an email. I was talking to him this week because he wanted to wish me a Happy New Year. He said, "Dear Roger, I wanted to say how much over the years I've enjoyed one of the finest public facilities I've ever played at in the world. The clubhouse is one of the best in Chicago. The food is great, and of course, the golf course is fabulous. Thanks for getting it done. Your friend, Hawk." So we have taken that picture. We already passed the picture? That's a picture I took. I bought that at a sports auction. I had it reset with the picture of Hawk down on the bottom, and it's hanging downstairs outside the Nest restaurant. The next picture. Right there on the left. So everybody knows. Promenade Apartments, Camille Halim and Hani Awad are here today. They've done a great job with the apartment complex in the mall. They bought it to rehab it. They've finished rehabbing 400 of the 475 units. Should be done very soon, so thank you, Camille, for what you do. On a side note, Camille has a hobby of collecting clocks. He wanted me to see his clock museum in Evanston. Okay, we'll go. When you gonna come? Okay, we'll go. Several months passed. We finally took a group up there and saw the museum. Folks, if you like clocks, or if you even have a casual interest in clocks, this man has built a building of some of the most unique clocks you'll ever see from around the world. Probably, I'm sure it's worth millions. It's well worth the trip, and it's in Evanston. It's about an hour ride. You could Google clock museums, and it'll pop up. Very, very much worth the trip. I would go back. It's just a great place. So, little hobby of his. I have to mention Papa's Pizza. It was probably one of the biggest news stories this year. It closed. The guys, here's the reality, folks. The guys are old. They had two. One ran the other. They don't want to do that anymore. So they closed one, happened to close one on Bolingbrook. The two of them, Matt and Phil, are running the one on Woodridge. They work half-time now. Family Square, rumored to close. Great restaurant. Been there many, many times. Nick and Tony. They didn't close, but they cut the hours back to 3 o'clock. Not because there's no business. They just don't want to work that hard anymore. Congratulate Shirley Garzinia and Jim and again Teresa for their new food pantry for kids' sake. A great addition to Bolingbrook. Census. The census is coming up this year. They'll be counting people starting, I believe, in April. They should wrap it up this fall. Census is very important. Please encourage people to participate with the census. A lot of state and federal money is distributed to municipalities based on population. So the more you have, and with the direction the state's going, we're losing 56,000 people. That means our 76,000 people is going to get even more. So be sure we get counted. And of course, they'll be putting together new maps. And we'll find out if all these politicians and legislators who say we want fair maps, and we'll see if they draw some fair maps, because they certainly aren't fair now. Half the General Assembly is unopposed because the maps are drawn so much, nobody could win. Now, I will admit, part of that half is just want nothing to do with elective life, and that's also driving some good people away. Crime rate. I was debating whether to bring this up or not. It's not about a rate necessarily. There's been an increase in grab-and-go property thefts, as I call them. I see it all over the country. I certainly see it all over Chicagoland. In fact, I heard about it this morning in New Lenox. Locally, Schaumburg, Oak Brook, Joliet, Downers Grove, Plainfield, Naperville, Bolingbrook. Guys are stealing cars in this city. They're driving out to the suburbs all over Chicagoland. They're mugging people, they're robbing the people, they're going into retail stores, grabbing a lot of stuff and running out, and then they take off. Now, part of the problem this is we don't do chases anymore. A police chase through the suburbs for $500 worth of clothing is not worth the risk and endangerment of other people. So once they leave our border, they know they can get away. And location, 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 we have a location like that. Access to 355, access to 55, access to two places, and even Boughton Road, east to west, 53 north. So my point in bringing that up is, and 75% of the village's reported crimes are shoplifting, and of course that's due because we have a lot of retail, but most all of the people who get arrested, if we do catch them, are out-of-towners. So, and then they abandon cars, they come here and steal cars, they check cars all the time and steal them. So I don't care if you're in Oak Brook, Northbrook, or Bolingbrook, lock your car and check it. It's a strange society we're in now. Claar Report, another success for your Bolingbrook. It's got its critics. I get questioned about it periodically, but that land was, a person wanted to buy it and put in another subdivision and some more strip malls, which I didn't think we needed. I thought the 75 acres of vacant land. Is it me? 75 acres of vacant land. It's a great little airport, and who knows what transportation needs to be in the future, but it's done a great job. They got a great museum there. One student went to the Air Eagles program there. She's now an aerospace engineer working with the Navy and Marine Corps and aircraft. Impressive program. They have an air show every year. Over 6,000 people, 30,000 people attend, and the museum had over 6,000 visitors last year, and Charlie's Restaurant's a great place to have a nice lunch. So if you're ever in town and want to see the air show, let me know. It's very reasonable, and you'll enjoy it. Your kids will enjoy it. Well, your grandkids will enjoy it. Bolingbrook Golf Club, where we are right now. Not only is it a great golf course, great place to have lunch, but it's we've gone very much green here. It's now legally not legally. It's now registered as a Monarch Butterfly Way Station. We've planted milkweed all over this place. And we've also were recognized by the Conservation Foundation for our efforts. We do control burns rather than use chemicals. We use organic fertilizers. We got bee boxes, bat houses, and bird houses all over the property, native plant species. We've got a young man named David Cook who won the Illinois Open 2 years. Hopefully see him on a pro tour soon. The golf range is considered one of the top 50 in the country. The Illinois State Senior Women's Amateur Tournament was held here this past year. A lot of people have their golf outings here and raise money. And one of the people is Bo Jackson's Give Kids a Chance charity. He raises $250,000 every year at this course, and he brings in sports stars from all over. Now, one of those guys played pro football. Where is it? It's on my screen. Why is it? Oh, you can tell me later. We'll have that opportunity. One of those guys played professional football. Which one? Anyway, it's Willie Galt, number 83 from the 85 Bears. For you older folks, the Bears did win the championship one year, a long, long time ago. And Willie Galt was a very strong player in it. And it was great to talk to him. I've never met him before, but I met him. Really a very nice man. Hotels. We have 2 hotels under construction, Fairfield Inn and soon a Hyatt Place, which will take us up to 1,222 rooms. And when I started, we had 0. So we've become quite a place to stop, and I think there's room for a couple more. Public Works, Webb Road interchange is under construction, and probably another 18 months. We also are working toward our interchange Route 126 and I-55. We started working on that with Congressman Judy Biggert 20 years ago in the Illinois Department of Transportation, and we went to the Federal Highway Administration. Funds have been set aside in the governor's new capital bill. Others are suggesting they started, but Bolingbrook initiated this project and took the lead 20 years ago. It'll be a big addition. And that's a picture of what the new interchange will look like. It's just like the one at Deal Road and 59, and there's I think one other on somewhere else, but it'll keep traffic flowing. Out front, we have Rodeo Drive under construction and King Road under construction. We'd hope to have those done by this fall or before the snowfly. But we ran into every utility in the world. That road's very old. They had to do cuts 16, 18 feet deep to keep water flowing and relocate pipes, sewer pipes, water pipes, utilities. There was a large high-pressure gas line. Kirk Diller was a big help with that because he represents One Oak, who owned it. But it was delay after delay, and then, of course, we had torrential rains both in the late spring and early fall. But they will be done, I'm assured, by May. King Road will be open north-south, another north-south artery, and Rodeo will be widened in front of the club. Anxious to see that. Housing. Hart's Construction is building on Weber Road at Hassert Boulevard, but they're also building a new development. Okay. A new development right off Boughton Road at 53. It's Bella Vista. The units are selling well. In the old place, he's about built out. Now he's building this new one. He sold 9. They're averaging $293,000. It's going to be great. And then behind it, there is north of it, this is directly across Portillo's. It's called Bluebell Ridge. You can see the model circled that we just looked at over there. Now, people often ask, why are you letting a new person-build shopping area when we have all these empty storefronts? Folks, this is America. This is capitalism. You're still entitled to build on your property if it's property zoned. Now, if certain people get in charge, that may go away, but we still have the right to buy property and build it. We don't make them build it. They want to build it. They're convinced they'll be successful. It's got 2/3 occupied now. Admittedly, one of them is Dunkin' Donuts is going to go in the end cap in that drive-through. That's because Dunkin' Donuts needs a drive-through, so they don't have one where they are, so they're going to move over there. That's the trend driven by what we want. We don't want to stop, walk inside. We like drive-throughs. Dunkin' Donuts knows that. So that's what's going to go there. And also Mandy's Restaurant's expanding there. So this is another building, built at Lee Lane and 53. No tenants, but the guy that owns it, built it. That's his privilege and his right. Can I tell him, no, you can't build it? You need to. That's not the way the world works, folks. And I do think some of these corner strip malls that got approved here 50 years ago, we're going to have to seriously consider repurposing those, perhaps demolishing them, and turning them to some other use, because retail is not coming back, not to the number of strip malls we have. Pulte, building a very successful development. Pulte, Liberty Green, single-family homes. That's Americana Estates. Keep going. That's Americana Estates, the new home going up. These homes are $800 to $1 million. Do you ever think we'd have $800 million in Bolingbrook? Another Americana Estates. Pulte. You see where Liberty Green is. Pulte Development's building, it's 153 units. They came here, they sold 53 in less than the first year, a third gone. These units are averaging $420,000 each. They're age targeted, designed so if you got a home worth $400,000 or $500,000, you sell it, transfer it right in here. This has golf course access. You see where the Bolingbrook Golf Club is in red. That's where we're standing now. They can take their golf cart right to their piece and go over to the clubhouse. And that's going to be same with Americana Estates. You got golf course access. So that's doing very, very well. Liberty Green, Rob Getz is here from Pulte. Mike Phillips was big helpful in that. So where's Rob Getz? Thank you, Rob. Good to see you. New restaurants. There's a whole slew of those. I got a list. There's about 10 or 15 new last year. We got 10 or 15 more new coming in. We have well over 100 places to eat, so enjoy them. Next. I'm going to let you drive this. What's the next slide? The Promenade. I love this picture. The Promenade is doing very well. It's got a 7%, I believe, vacancy, which is, or they got 3% vacancy rate less than the others in the country. So we're doing better with occupancy. New place called CJ's Comedy Club, Danny's Hamburgers, CJ's, it's a great comedy club. He's doing very, very well. Cycle Gear just opened up. Stores closing, unfortunately. Charmin Charlie, Charlotte Russe, or whatever it's called. Forever 21, Famous Footwear. J. Jill's announced they're closing 100 stores. We don't know if it's ours or not, but that's what's happening. Bed Bath Beyond said they're going to close 30 stores. We just lost Pier 1. Pier 1 closed 450 stores across the United States. So it's not just happening here or Woodridge or anywhere. They're closing stores everywhere. And you know why? Amazon. So it's the Sears, Pennies, they're all in trouble. Andy's Frozen Custard. Andy Kuntz, right here. Stand up, Andy. Now, I think there's some frozen custard coming out here, isn't there? Oh, you already got it? Sit down, Andy. Andy Kuntz came here with 8 stores. By the end of the year, I believe he's going to have about 80. We're at 86 right now. 86. True entrepreneur. People on the internet made fun of how long it took him to get open. That corner was a problematic corner. Used to be a bank, tore it down, had some dirt problems, had to haul the dirt away. But Dick Portillo bought it, and Dick said, what do you think I should do with it? I said, you need to get Andy Kuntz. So Dick talked to Andy, and this is the ribbon cutting. I'll tell you, I am honored to be part of 2 very successful business people like Dick Portillo and Andy Kuntz. That ribbon cutting was probably the most fast. I've probably been to 400 or 500 ribbon cuttings. That was probably one of the best I've had, listening to you guys talk about the problems of developing a corporation. Of course, Dick Portillo is just a classy guy, and for, I believe he's in his early 80s. The guy's doing very, very well. Good friend. Bolingbrook Commons, just a quick comment about that. That's the shopping center at 5055. With the exception of a coat of paint, the people that bought it 34 years ago have done nothing with it other than put a coat of paint on it. They pay over $210,000 a year in property taxes, and it just sits empty. They've got it on the market for $1 million an acre. That anybody in the business world knows there's no property like that that's worth $1 million an acre. So we just sit and wait. We've offered them a very lucrative incentive through a TIF. They decided they didn't want to do that. It just sits. So I get asked that question frequently. The Lambert Farms, Veterans Point. This is one of the last parcels of the southwest part of Bolingbrook off Veterans Parkway. Crow Holdings bought it. It went out for public bid. Crow Holdings, which used to be Trammell Crow, who developed one of the first buildings here in Bolingbrook. Crow Holdings bought it, and have done a very great job. There's 4 buildings. Part of them was already leased. They're going to be putting in the signal where this is, and there's a new roadway, Wyndham Parkway, which will connect over to Weber Road. A big addition, so thanks to Crow Holdings for coming to Bolingbrook. G&W Electric bought a second building, expanded. They've got over 800 jobs. They've got facilities in China and Canada, and they ship around the world, and nothing looks nicer when I go there and I see a box, return address, Bolingbrook, Illinois, and it's going countries all over. They build electrical systems. Alta, one of the most successful businesses in America, corporate headquarters here in town. Their stock has actually beat Amazon in terms of growth. I just wished I would have bought some when I could have. They've got 1,124 stores in 49 states, all run out of here. Next, Old Chicago. How many people here went to Old Chicago? Raise your hand.
Yeah.
Now, if you'd have gone again, it'd still be here. Roll through the slides. That's the site plan after it was torn down. That's the original building. The world's first indoor amusement park. The dome, a woman danced on the dome at her grand opening. The square area in the center is the amusement park, surrounded by retail. The retail had no major anchors. That's the generally consensus why it didn't work. That's the roller coaster under construction. That's the site, again, you can see all the empty land around it back in the 70s. It opened on May 4th, 1975. I know that's because that's when I moved to the area. Next, This is the site plan that's just now. It became a Reno Auto Auction after it was closed in a Manheim auction. It's been consolidated with an operation in Matson, Cox Automobile, George owns it. The land is worth a significant amount of money. They put it out, had 18 people bid on it, several of them in this room today. And the dollars just got too high for some. There's a group looking at it, which I do not want. That was a successful bidder. I can't say who it is. I don't like the jobs. I don't like the congestion. They're proposing 200 trucks, cars, 2,000 cars. You know how 53, 55 is now? You imagine what like we put that in the system? Jobs pay $15 an hour. You know, I'd rather have something like G&W Electric, Alta, or whatever, all those kind of corporations. So it's not zoned properly, so we'll have to play this out. But they were the successful bidder out of 1,800. Have I gone too far, Jim? I said, take it down the road. There's lots of places to love it. WeatherTech. There's a table of WeatherTech, right? Over there, back here. I always said I'd like to be able to say that I brought David McNeil to WeatherTech to Bolingbrook, but I can't. He found Bolingbrook. He was in Downers Grove and Industrial Park in the Wisconsin Avenue area. And frankly, he said, I want to be in a place where I want my business to look pristine and look successful. And he drove down Remington Boulevard and he saw the beautiful tree-lined median and the way it was all set up and the setbacks. This is where I want to build. And build has he built. He owns, I believe, 19 buildings down. Not all are his facilities. He has other businesses. He just bought them as investments. Great guy, very serious. Talk about a type A personality. His picture is in the dictionary next to the letter A. You go to meet with Dave, you have an agenda, and you go through it. And he's very classy. You wouldn't know that he's been as successful as the way he acts. He's just a regular guy, at least I think he is. People back there may disagree, but I think he's fun to talk to. Everything's manufactured in America. That big building on 55 with all the glass, that's his new building. It's a CNC building. That's it facing 55. 55 is the other side of that building. That square thing in front, that's the heliport for his helicopter. He's building another building in front, where in the lower part of the picture, that's going to be another building. That's going to be his private auto museum. He hasn't told me this, but I've read that he's one of the top 10 auto collectors in the world. And he's also going to have his racing team and other things based in this building. So that's going to start construction as soon as the other one's done. And he's never asked for or been given an incentive or a tax break. Every election, typically the uninformed candidate will say, well, they wouldn't build so much, you quit giving away all your tax money. He's never asked for or been given any. He just likes it here. And he doesn't want help. He's a proud American, builds American, buys American, hires American. So he's a great, great guy in that respect. Next. His next building is on Weber Road in Hassert. It's at 3 buildings, 65 units. There are business condo units. There'll be some retail, some other uses. That's under construction as we speak. And behind this building, to your right, where you see the little water, behind that, he's going to build an 80-car parking lot free, because adjacent to that is a Park District tennis or soccer fields. So he's building an 80-car parking lot for the soccer field players to have to park, just because he wants to do it, no charge. That's the kind of businessman he is. Next, we have Fountain Square. It was built by Jim McShane, bought this year by Bridge Development, and they immediately started work on the 5th building, which is the one on the right. There are several users that were here last year, but I want to mention IBP, Industrial Battery Products. There's a picture of Tom Skull and I in his building. They sell any kind of size battery you can imagine. It's very fascinating to see what batteries do today. And that's Dustin Perk, one of his employees. And then, so we toured that. The next building is fascinating, and they're here today too, I think. L3DFX. Where you at? Somebody here from there? Right over here. Paul Season. Paul is the, stand up, Paul. Let's see. This, look how young this guy is. Paul is, on his card, he's not president, he's the creator. And create he does. On the back of his card it says concept, design, creator, and deliver. It's fascinating what this guy does and who he builds for and the companies he works for. He ships these things around the world. This was manufactured, I mean, that's just a pumpkin, I freely admit that, but next slide you'll see. He made 17 of those that are on Carnival cruise lines around the world. Another shot of the same thing in the backdrop. Again, what's on the ship itself. You see there's two people on the stage there. This is all being created from scratch right here in this building in Bolingbrook on Remington Boulevard. This is Dr. Seuss, things he's built for them. Another Dr. Seuss product. He does a lot of work, he did a lot of work for the new Wrigley Field, Cubs area. This book right there, I got a chance to look at it. Those are actual pages. It's like 4 foot by 6 foot. Each page is something he's created. He did things for Transformers, the movie, for Jurassic Park, the movie. Again, does Disney work. Hasbro, and I want you to talk to Hasbro about being one of those Bolingbrook. No, he started with a paintball facility in Lockport, Joliet. And he also had, it's Hell's Gate, the haunted house, which you may have read about in the area. He's since gone from those to his company now. It used to be Legacy, now it's L3DFX. And you imagine the talented people he's got in there to come up with these things. Right here in downtown Bolingbrook. Some other, thank you, Paul. Some new business, Craters and Freighters came to town. They package and send anything. Unlimited carrier, 470 contracted people. ID Commerce acquired by Symbio Logistics. Heartside Food, of course, food products, 500 employees. Nuco, Paul and John Newstap moved their corporate headquarters from Downers Grove here. Opened up, they deal in parts for heating and air conditioning. Alta Equipment came here. They're in logistics, forklifts, industrial packaging. They're in a building on Lincoln or Lillicash. Prismir, they make custom metal and products. And Hussman Refrigeration relocated from Remington Boulevard and expanded. Zapoli expanded on Frontage Road. They're in the restaurant supply. RR Street, 20 employees. They're a restaurant, and they're also dealing in dry cleaning and laundry products. Restaurant Depot, I announced last year, it's an interesting story. At Crossroads Parkway 53, they were going to build here, but their building in Ohio was destroyed by a tornado. And they actually sent me a picture of it, just flattened. So they had to stop and rebuild that facility before they could start the construction here. Power Play Distributors, they deal in frozen foods and mainly frozen pizza. And so we got, and I'm sure I'm missing some of it, but those are just some of the new companies. Christian Brothers Automotive, they opened a facility here. Paul Cruz is with us today. He's the owner, very proud of it. Crash Champions, Tim Kostick started an auto body shop here 50 years ago. His daughter, Teresa, took it over and did a great job running it and didn't plan to retire, but the offer she couldn't refuse, so she sold to Crash Champions. They're going to rehab this building, and they're going to actually double the size of it on Mountain Road. And then we had an Aldi's close, and people got concerned about the use, but CD Collision Center is moving in there. They're going to totally rehab it. All things will be done inside. It backs up to the airport on 3 sides, and it's off of Weber Road, so you really can't see it, but it's going to be one of the largest auto body facilities of 15,000 square foot around. All right, our population again 76,000. We're counting on a good census, so that population grows, and we need that representation in Springfield. Springfield's been a problem for, well, I don't know. I wish we'd go to a session every 2 years instead of every year. This year they approved cannabis, as you know. We opted out. I don't have video poker in Bolingbrook. They want video poker. I find it interesting when they pass a law for video poker that you have to have a liquor license in order to have video poker. they might as well just put on their 2-drink minimum, you know? I mean, seriously, why do you have to have alcohol to play video poker? It's pretty telling. Anyway, then of course, they got the cannabis, and you have to have an ID to get in the store. And I really wish somebody explained to me why you have to have an ID to get in the store, but you don't have to have an ID to vote. I don't get that. And then, of course, they expanded smoking to cannabis. You know, they raised the state law to 21. Nationally, it's 21. Well, okay, now it's 21. Let's give them something else to smoke. I mean, I don't understand the logic. We hear a lot. Oh, somebody had a letter to the editor of Joliet paper yesterday. I liked it. To the editor. So once the great state of Illinois is making money off gambling and drugs, somewhere Al Capone must be smiling. Seems his only problem was that he was ahead of his time. Yesterday's paper. And the real problem is that new gambling money they're getting, they're going to go blow through that in 2 or 3 years. And what's next? You get a lot of guesses. I've heard a lot of guesses, but I'm not going to go into those now. Property taxes. People talk about property tax all the time. You know, the executive director of the Tollway was going to join us today. I'd hoped. He got tied up in a Tollway meeting. Jose Alvarez, but the question's always asked, why isn't the Tollway still charging tolls? It's charging tolls because all of you want wider roads, more ramps, more interchanges. You want better service. You want the roads resurfaced. They can't keep up with it. The original tollway system, had it not been expanded, would have been paid off years ago. But people want the expansion. The tollway doesn't do it on a whim. They do it because they've got legislators and people who want to see things expanded. Got people want to see buses move faster, so the tollway and IDOT are working together to put bus and shoulder programs to keep those buses moving to get people to work. Property tax is a vicious circle. If the state fully funded schools, property taxes wouldn't have to be so much. And then the state keeps adding mandates on local governments they got to add in. The county's doing the same thing. They used to haul prisoners for us for nothing in the county. They decided, well, from now on, we're going to make you pay for it. So we have to come up with $30,000 a year. That's not a large amount of money. But if the average household pays $660 in property taxes for municipal services, that's 53 houses, I think the math's right, 53 houses paying property tax just to pay for the haul prisoners. And it all adds up. So it's people's demands on property taxes. It's, again, a vicious circle. Unfunded mandates count in the pipe. We just had a new law kick in January 1st that all bathrooms, public bathrooms, must have baby changing stations. Now, I don't have a problem with that. In fact, I put all ours in some years ago. But it's the cost. Just do it. No money along with it. And there's, you know, that's $300-400 a piece to put those in public bathrooms, plus the labor. So those mandates keep driving up expenses, and we can't print money. So we have to get it somewhere. School districts have to get it somewhere. New curriculum ideas. It's stunning what you see going on, and it's I don't know where it's going to stop. Diversity. Bolingbrook is one of the most diverse communities in the state. In fact, there's a slide here that'll show you we are number 2. We were number 1 for quite a while, but statistically, we're basically tied with Glendale Heights if they beat us out as being the most diverse community in the state of Illinois. And we're very proud of that diversity. We celebrate it with a Filipino Day behind our Village Hall, a Day of the Immigrant, El Grito, Juneteenth, Pakistani Day, Joy Fest, and all kinds of functions by our Village Hall on a regular basis. We have sister cities with Sucheng, China, Chennai, India, San Paulo, Philippines, Sialkot, Pakistan, and Brazzaville, Congo, again, to celebrate our diversity. So people ask the question about supporting our diversity. I've been told by hundreds of people over the years they came here because we had affordable housing, and they stayed here because we have a diverse community, because Bolingbrook is a snapshot of America. And that's what keeps people here in Bolingbrook. There's got some more pictures. This was, keep going. Keep going. Keep going. That was a gift from Gur. Gur was supposed to be here today, but I've not seen him. Again, got to be a good friend, and again, reflecting diversity you have here in Bolingbrook. As I said earlier about gambling in Bolingbrook does not have an adult bookstore, doesn't have a tattoo parlor, doesn't have massage parlors, doesn't have hookah bars. We've gotten down to where I've crunched it down. We only have 3 what I call bars in general. All the rest are restaurants. We used to have more bars. We don't have any gas stations that sell alcohol, and we have video poker and cannabis. Now, folks, I'm not a prude, but what do they bring to the table? Except money? You can't run government strictly on those kind of revenues, in my opinion. Debt. One of the things I get criticized for is our debt. There's a list at your chair, well, there's a list on the, coming up here of all the things we've done in the ability. We built this city. Bolingbrook should never have to issue another bond again. It's just a matter of paying off what we incurred. And our last issue where we refinanced, Standard & Poor's jumped our bond rating by 3 clicks from medium to high-grade bonds. And they wrote things such as strong management with the ability to maintain consistent balanced operations, very strong budgetary performance resulting in operating surpluses which enable the village to exceed its debt servicing obligations, very strong budgetary flexibility, allowing to shift resources as it needs, very strong internal liquidity, and strong institutional framework. And I'm very, very proud of that. So we're in great shape, folks. Contrary. Just like to add a couple more things. Career highlights. One of the highlights of my mayoral career has been meeting some of the brightest and most successful people in America. Bill Goldberg, who came here and bought 450 acres along what is now Remington Boulevard, came to me, went to Romeoville. That could have been annexed into Romeoville, which would have, Romeoville would have been north of Lily Cache. He opted to come to Bolingbrook. And he suggested we name that road, which is out front at the time called 111th Street, he suggested we call it Remington Boulevard. Guess what? You buy that many acres? Call it what you want. No, it's a great name, and then he gave us a very nice Frederick Remington bus, which is on display in Village Hall. Dick Portillo. I mentioned Dave McNeil. Andy Kuntz. Ben Seidel came here with a couple of stores, now has 12 in 6 different states. John Mueller, G&W Electric, brought it here from Blue Island. Tom Grasecki, Northern Builders, who've come here and built millions of acres of property. And again, doesn't ask for incentives. So I don't know what, Bolingbrook has never, in my administration, 34 years, has never given a tax break. Never. So where's that rumor come from? Well, I know where it comes from. Dave D'Alessandro. This guy's a very sharp, successful businessman. The Torontos, John Carlo and Anthony Toronto here, 3rd generation, I think. Toronto Bakery, got a big facility here. Paul Lombardo is doing very well here. Desmond Roberts, Vantage Chevrolet expanded, turned a mediocre dealership into a strong dealership. Linda Ho, American Chrome, went to China with her parents to tour that country at their request to see how they do business there. I'll never forget, we asked them, how do you guys build all these roads? They said, we just tell people to get out of the way. No plan commission there. Rich Galgado, Windy City Amusements. George Radice, the Radice family. That's been my personal delight, meeting those people, working with those people, and seeing how successful they can be. As I've said, I will not be a candidate for re-election in April of 21. I will, however, be involved in that race. My only comment to the residents listening is to tell them elections have consequences. A lot of people next spring will be seeking office for mayor, trustee, village clerk, school board, park board, library board, township board, so on. Look at the candidates closely and see what they want to do when they serve. Many of them won't know or won't tell you. Look at their community involvement, not just the involvement they have with their own children, but what they do beyond their family in helping other people in other organizations. Many will have none or very little. Look and see if they've been around our community at numerous events, festivals, other than just election time. And listen to them to see whether it's the old story, Is the glass half full or is the glass half empty? We have a country right now where there's a percentage of people think the glass is half empty. We have a lot going here in Bolingbrook. This country has a great deal going for it in this country. And aren't you getting a little tired of the negativity? People have become hateful, negative, with no goal other than to achieve power or perhaps pay. Having said that, as some of you know, I'm recommending that we return to a part-time mayor with a full-time professional administrator. For the past 20 years, with the help of staff and Jim Bone and Reggie, I've managed this village, of course, with the help of, again, many other talented staff members in addition to those I mentioned. Our business parks are almost completely built out. Our transportation plan is etched in stone with a couple of roads yet to be widened, not necessarily built. There's only a couple thousand acres left of residential land left, and all the infrastructure is in place. School sites are picked, park sites are picked, fire stations are picked and in place. It's pretty much all done. It's a matter of now management, and I think a professional manager would be appropriate at this point in time. One of my personal thoughts opposed to a full-time mayor is, again, it restricts the pool of people who can do it. If you're a school teacher, you're not going to take a year off and run for mayor and perhaps find yourself in the street at the end of the term and it'd be difficult to get back in the school business. Or if you got a career you'd rather attend to but maybe help lead as a part-time mayor. So this will give anybody the opportunity with a full-time professional. This time, I'd like to ask my wife to come up here. Pat. She didn't know I was going to do this.
No, I didn't.
Well, I just wanted to be here for the last couple of minutes. I was taught in graduate school by a great professor who one day looked at me and he said, if you don't want to know my answer to your question, don't ask it. I've tried to follow that motto. It stings sometimes to people because you tell them what you feel, not what you think they want to hear. But I'd much rather do business that way. When I came to Bolingbrook, go back to the first map. This is the map of Bolingbrook when I started. We think this map is about 1985, in that range. You can see Weber Road, which curves through there, Veterans Parkway and Weber Road on the left. Nothing out there. Next, you'll see a map of Bolingbrook today. And next, you'll see a map of the business parks in Bolingbrook, or at least most of them. None of that was there in 1986. So that's what I think a professional manager could very easily take care of and go back to the part-time basis. And we're going to be talking about that more at village board meetings for those people that have an interest. I've learned also that when people don't like what's happening, we're called politicians, not elected officials or by our title. If people don't like something that's going into a business park, it's just another warehouse, which is totally inappropriate or inaccurate. It's offensive to me when people say, oh, it's just a done deal. If you're not paying attention, it may appear to be a done deal, but if you're paying attention to your commission hearings and so forth, there's not a done deal. There's no done deals here. It goes through a process. Nobody objects, it passes. I've also had a very open door policy in my office. I don't think my office door in 34 years as mayor has been closed 34 times. First of all, there's no secret in government, and they might as well hear it firsthand as opposed to muffled, listening through a closed door. So, I've had major heart surgery 4 years ago. I had minor heart surgery 6 months ago. This will probably, well, I shouldn't say probably, this will be my last state of the village. I said it. I have a 5-year-old granddaughter in California calling my name. Vista, California, suburb of San Diego. I will be heavily involved in the transition and thereafter in the village board of government. I plan to stay here You have to 6 months, or in California, they kill you on taxes. I will get involved in the next election and government because I want to ensure the continuity and maintain the civil decency and integrity that I believe we've maintained here for 30 years. We've gone from a village that was questionable. When I first came into office, I went to a function. I'll never forget this. I was a mayor, walked in, they said, "Where are you from? You a mayor?" I said, "Yes." "Where from?" I went to Bolingbrook. The response was, "Oh, Bolingbrook." They don't do that anymore. So we're very proud of what we've done. I've certainly had the help of Pat, my wife, who's been there for me, who sat at home while I was out doing whatever, and who has been very involved and instrumental in my elections each and every time to different degrees, depending on the severity of it. And of course, I've told people I do not want to do to my granddaughter, to some extent, what I did to my daughter by not seeing her. I just turned 74. It's time to do something else. But I've certainly enjoyed the experience. Again, here's a picture of, that's Samantha Joy. I am Papa, she's Mimi. There was one other picture there. This will keep my opponents awake at night. But, again, thank you, Pat. If Lindsay's still watching, I'll get a text in about 10 seconds. But thank you, Pat. Thank you to all of you. It's been a great run. I'm not leaving tomorrow or the next day, and I'm not going to take this microphone and drop it. It's just the last time I'll have a group like this together. I know it's been long, but there's a lot to cover. As I've said many times, I'm talking to the business community through the chamber, but I'm also talking to residents because a lot of people do watch this and find out what's going on. You got a great town. You should be very proud of it. I certainly am, and I could never get in a car and drive out of here with a dry eye. So, thank you for coming out. There is nothing else, right, Kevin, wherever Kevin is? You're going what, downstairs? Again, thank you. Enjoy your day. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, Nick. Hi, Nick. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You got a crump.